Stampers, welcome to the craft room. Today I want to show you how to make this incredibly simple and easy stamped tile magnet. So let's get started. We're going to begin with a square tile. This tile is just a 1 inch by 1 inch square. It's a really nice little size. And the first thing we're going to do is just clean our surface. So I'm just going to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol and I'm just going to wipe down my surface to make sure I don't have any oils or fingerprints on my surface. The next thing we're going to need is our jet black Staz-On and also a stamp, and I'm using this adorable little mouse from the Furry Folk stamp set. And all we are going to do is stamp our mouse onto the tile. And you just want to be careful. Your tile is a little bit of a slick surface, so you just want to make sure as you're stamping that you don't slide your stamp around. So I'm just going to ink up the mouse and try to line him up so that his tail fits onto the tile. And then I'm just going to press straight down and give him some good pressure and lift up. And there's our adorable little mouse. You just want to give that a second or two to dry, and then we're going to come in and bring in our crystal effects, and we're going to coat the whole top of this tile with crystal effects. And you can do this one of two ways. You can start in the middle if you like. I tend to like to start out at the edge and then make my way toward the center. So however you prefer. Also, your crystal effects is pretty self-leveling, so it shouldn't go over the sides of your tile. It'll stop itself before it starts dripping down the sides. Unless, of course, you put way too much on, and then you might find you do have an issue. So we're just going ahead and filling in our entire tile with crystal effects. And then you want to allow this to dry. And also it's very vulnerable right now to dust and pet hair. I have pets in the house. So what I do when I'm letting this dry is I set it aside, but I take some kind of box. This happens to be a box that I have from IKEA that actually has a see-through side, and I just go ahead and cover my item so that it doesn't get any dust or pet hair on it. So once this is dry, and I happen to have a few that are dry, so let me set that aside and bring in the ones that are dry. You can see some of the other Furry Folk images. I stamped the squirrel and the bear and the acorn. The last thing we need to do is just add our magnet backing. And I should mention, in terms of letting these dry, I like to leave them aside. I live in a very dry climate, and I like to leave them aside for a day or two, and I don't touch them. So you'll have to decide in your climate how much time it will take for them to dry thoroughly. But I would recommend 2 days, just leave them alone and walk away, and after 2 days they're great and ready to go. So in order to attach the magnet, we're just going to again use our crystal effects. So we're just going to flip our tile over. I'm going to put some crystal effects on the back of our magnet. And just adhere that down. And again, you probably, although this will dry more quickly because it's not so thick, I would go ahead again and leave it for a day or two before you start attaching it to things that are metallic, because once you start attaching it, it'll have a lot of force and you don't want your magnet to separate from your tile. So again, having patience to let your magnets dry. And there you have it, a very, very simple way to make adorable little magnets using just a few products, your Staz-On, your crystal effects, a tile, and a magnet. I hope you've enjoyed this project, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon here in the craft room.